Hey there troopers, this is Random Game Channel. Finally got to a good point where I can make a engineer gameplay tips video. As you might have known, I've been steadily making some content to go over each of the classes that's in this game, and the engineer is the last one that I've been kind of putting off for a while. So with this one, I finally got to a good, spot where I think I know what I'm doing now, and I actually am enjoying playing this a lot more than when I first started. Most of that was due to the fact that I didn't really know how this class worked and all that. But that out of the way, I've got 6 engineer gameplay tips that I hope can help you improve your gameplay. Okay, first things first, we're always going to talk about the loadout, a little bit about what I like, and just want to throw this out there that you don't necessarily have to follow the things that I do, but these are things that I felt like I had the most fun with, and maybe you'll have fun doing that as well. But again, do whatever you think is going to be the most fun for you. That's the most important part. Alright, let's get started. Let's start with the weapons here. So by default, every class will get the Merida Mark 1. But with this class, you also get the FU-17 flamethrower. This one I still don't really like too much. The bugs will still run at you if you set them on fire, so that's kind of scary, right? But if you like seeing stuff on the fire, this is the weapon for you. So a little short range, so make sure that you have good cover, or you're working with other troopers to make sure that you stay alive. The other one, the last weapon unlock, at least for this recording, is the TW2 split shotgun. This is a pellet-based shotgun, unlike the other ones. Those are slugs. I've actually grown to really like this weapon, and I've been trying to max level this thing so I can unlock it for the medic class, so I can go back and play that class a lot more. That one's still a lot of fun. But out of all these 3 weapons here, I like using the shotgun because it's got a lot of crowd control capabilities. The spread on this thing is pretty big because of the pellets. So it doesn't matter whatever range you hit a bug at with this shotgun, it'll cause it to stop moving for just a second. And if there's a large crowd of bugs, this thing will, has a high potential to hit 3-4 bugs at once. So it's great to control the field, and overall I'm liking this weapon a lot. The ones you should really unlock, or the items for this weapon that you should unlock, are really just the reflex sight and the long magazine tube. As you can see, there's nothing really else there, so just make sure you at least get to level 3 to get the long magazine tube, and you'll be doing pretty good. Now, if you don't like the shotgun, or if you don't like the novelty of the flamethrower, you can always go with the Merida Mark 1. This is a really nice and stable weapon. I've used it a lot. This is the weapon I got most of my kills with on this game. If you do want to roll with the Merida, I recommend having the reflex sight on. I like having the FMJ rounds on. It just Feels like it's easier to just like shoot the bugs with. Then the compensator, and then where's that one? The extended magazines. You can also use the hollow point rounds if you have really good aim. But if you're like me, sometimes I just have a hard time seeing. Sometimes the colors and stuff get in the way, and I have a hard time seeing things, so I end up doing a lot of spray and pray. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So this is a great thing to have. Let me just switch this back here to the shotgun, re-equip these. So with a shotgun, you're going to be doing a lot of damage at close range. You have a potential to, hit one-hit kill arachnids, or I should say warriors, within like maybe 2 to 3 meters of you. So the stagger value is like 0, but it's still, I believe the other part of this is like it still stuns pretty good. I always forget the differences between the two, but let me just check my notes here about what stun is. Causes the enemy to stop movement immediately. So that's kind of one of the hidden weapon abilities that the developers recently took out from here. But stun and stagger still play a big role in this game. And the shotgun has stun instead of stagger, which you can see here. The thing with this weapon though is like the armor piercing's pretty low. So you really gotta do your best to hit it in the weak spot. But since you're going to be at close quarters combat anyways, that should get a little bit easier, especially with how much damage this thing has. Yeah, that's about it for the primary weapon. Let's move into the secondary. Again, I never really like using the Peacemaker, but if you absolutely love using it, totally use it. It's cool. Do whatever is going to be fun for you. So let's just check the stats out. So the damage seems alright. Stagger's like, at the max value here, which is great. It's going to help you with your survivability because when the bug is being shot at, it's going to stop moving until it's not being shot at. Range is kind of short. That's okay. It's not going to be used for like long range shooting. Accuracy is pretty high, and the armor piercing is 3, which is, I think, somewhat average for like a lot of these weapons. The stuff you want to unlock first is like at least the extended magazines, and from there you can like use one of the ammo types, whichever one that you prefer. You can also equip like the reflex sight, which will kind of help create a more clear line of sight for you when you're aiming down the sights. Because the iron sights on this thing is kind of limited. I don't know if we can even see it with this, but yeah. However, the pistol that I do like to use is the Emancipator, which you could probably see in all the other videos that I've made, but this thing is awesome. I feel like I can like hit gunners at like really long range with this weapon, which will help with like the amount of range that the shotgun can produce, right? Since it's like so short. So I prefer using the Emancipator with this class if I'm using the shotgun, because I'll cover the range differential there. The accuracy is low because how much kickback this thing can produce, but You know, I think over time, once you develop some experience using this weapon, that shouldn't be too much of an issue anymore. And the damage for, you know, a pistol is actually pretty good, at least in my opinion. So the stuff that you want to unlock is the reflex sight, which you can see here, the extended magazines, and looks like I actually unlocked the ammo round, so you know, FMJ if you like. Actually, I only has the FMJ. I thought it had the other one. That's okay too. So yeah, that's it for the sidearms. Okay, so let's go into the utilities here. We have some options. I'm kind of on the fence about using the proximity bug mine and the shock beacon. Like, they both serve their own purpose. Like, for the proximity bug mine, you can, you know, obviously kill a lot of arachnids. The only thing though, it will only arm if I believe a warrior or larger sized bug enters the proximity of the bug mine. But after it triggers, there'll be a 2-second arming time, and then they'll detonate. So it won't, like, you know, explode right away. However, it does take a few seconds to even, like, prime this and drop it on the field. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're trying to drop this during an active combat situation. You might get kind of chewed up in the process if no one's covering for you. The next one is the shock beacon. So this thing, I believe you get like 4 or maybe 5 beacons, and then if you put them within 10 meters of each other, they'll produce like this electric fence-like barrier. So any bugs that, you know, walk into this barrier, they'll be instantly stunned, and they'll be like this big auditory cue to let you know that they're there and being shocked. So this thing I like using to kind of create a perimeter around an objective, like say the refinery on Advanced and Secure. This will buy enough troopers time to react to any bugs that are ambushing your position. But the only downside of the shock beacon is that it's susceptible to friendly explosive damage. So if someone has like a grenade launcher, or someone throws a grenade, or someone has their own proximity bug mine that detonates, it's most likely going to take out the shock beacon with it. So that's the only like downside to this thing. So yeah, use it however you like, but I'm kind of on the fence about using both of these. Like, you know, which one I prefer over the other. The other one is the ammo fabricator. I like using this because you can let other people reload their ammunition, which is pretty important because ammo can get limited out on the field. I think this is like one of the most popular utilities that a lot of the engineers deploy. The last one is the overcharge module. I always forget that I have it, so it doesn't really see much use when I do have it equipped. But what this does is, like, any structure that has like any offensive capabilities, like say an auto sentry turret or like an electrical fence, you can equip this overcharge module onto it, and then it'll start performing like I guess like overperform, as this thing says. It'll be producing a higher like output of damage, I believe. But the only thing is that it starts losing its health over time, which shouldn't be too much of an issue because you should be repairing it at the same time to keep it up. You get 3 at a time and it only lasts for like 30 seconds. Excuse me, I had to get some water there, my throat's getting a little dry. So out of all these, I definitely always have the ammo fabricator equipped, and then either the proximity bug mine or the shock beacon. As far as grenade goes, I find that I like using the chem grenade. The only downside of this is like it doesn't kill arachnids right away. It's more of a damage over time thing that only lasts for about 60 seconds. It does block line of sight a little bit, so if you can, try to avoid throwing it on top of someone's position. Kind of want to throw it at that kind of choke point or somewhere troopers aren't going to be like taking cover in. The other grenades are the MX-90 grenade. It's very reliable. Every class gets this one. You can't go wrong with this grenade because it does a good amount of burst damage, and it can clear out a lot of bugs in one spot. Now the napalm grenade, this one's gonna obscure line of sight significantly and is gonna kind of last for like 60 seconds and does damage over time. But I really don't like using this one because it just makes it so much harder for troopers to see. So if you are going to use this, kind of treat it like if you're playing like a RPG, you know, like a role-playing game, like the spell Firewall. Treat it like that. You want to use it as a barrier that bugs have to cross into like a kill zone or something like that. Use it as a deterrent, not like a you know, I need something dead right away kind of thing, 'cause that's not going to happen. Okay, going into the perks, let's just go over the ones that I do like using. Then we'll go into the other ones that's available. So the first one is the Powered Up Build tool. This one's really nice because it increases the rate in which you can build and repair structures. Out of all the other classes, the engineer is going to be able to build and repair things the fastest when it has this perk equipped. This next one is called Reinforced Repairs. So when a structure is already at 100% health, you can reinforce it further by repairing it again, and you'll be getting like a little bit of extra XP for this. You get like 1 XP almost like per second that this is up. So why is this cool? Why is this useful? Because sometimes when you're in a heavy combat situation, like things are just like falling apart around you. Once you're able to clear the ambush up or the wave of bugs, you can quickly repair structures with a powered build-up tool, and you can give things a little extra oomph to them, extra durability, which will help keep the base up for just a little bit longer whenever the situation gets like really hectic. Really useful if you want to keep things from like falling down, like in say when there's like a mutator for like inferno bugs and grenadiers, because those things can like quickly deplete the durability on your structures. So this is a nice way of supporting the troopers when everyone's inside the base. I really like using this thing because sometimes troopers don't really pay attention too much to repairing things, and if you're like the only one that's like keeping tabs on everything, having that extra layer of durability is going to go a long way. Last one that I like to equip is Refined. So this makes it quicker to extract ore and gas before the refinery has to go on cooldown, which I believe is about 250 seconds. So that's a really long time. So all you need to do is take out your build tool and just start repairing this thing, and that will allow the refinery to extract these resources quicker. So there's a couple other perks that you can equip. One of them is the magazine bandolier. I would like to use this thing, but the other perks I feel like is it aligns more with what I want to do for the class. And you shouldn't really worry too much about ammo anyways, because you'll have the ammo fabricator utility on you. Next one is the utility satchel. It adds one to all your utilities. It's nice, but I don't think it's totally necessary. Because this should be enough. This ammo fabricator should be enough to take care of I think 4 or 5 troopers. And chances are pretty high there's going to be another engineer out there that they can also deploy their fabricator. One extra for the rest of these, it's okay, it's a nice bonus, but I wouldn't say it's a vital thing to have. So that's about it for all the perks. This is the stuff I feel like I would have the most fun with and would be the best for this class. But again, if you find something else that you like using a lot more and you're having fun with, definitely go with that, right? Why do something that isn't fun for you? You're here for a good time, right? Okay, so let's just take a second before we move on to the second gameplay tips, and let's just kind of quickly talk about the class abilities. So the first one was Logistician, or Logistician. I always have a hard time saying that word. Anyways, this allows the engineer to carry a canister in their backpack and improves build and repair range. So this is the spot where you can put the cannon. To do that, for the keyboard, you'll just need to, I believe, press number 6 on your keyboard, and it should stow it there. And then you can switch back to your primary or secondary to be able to defend yourself with it. However, if you do have fire support, you can have one in your backpack, and then you can have one can in your arms that you can carry back to either the bunker in AAS or the ARC or the mobile HQ in ARC mode. That'll allow you to progress the game a little bit faster, which is always cool. I don't think anybody wants to stay in a game any longer than they should, because you want to kill more bugs. The next one is the mobile build tool. What this does is that this class ability, you can build pretty much anywhere outside of the mobile-based build zone. The only thing you gotta watch out for is that you can't build on a slope. And let me check my notes here. You also get a personal pool resources that you can use to build, which I think is about 2,000 ore. So yeah. But you only have about 30 seconds to build something, so just kind of plan out what you want to do first before you use that class ability. Let's see, not change class, but oh yeah, if you haven't already unlocked everything, there should have been a button here that you can click on. For example, like for the Ranger, I haven't leveled this thing up yet when I did my re-enlistment. And doing this will allow you to kind of give you a preview of all the different things that you can unlock for the class. So that's pretty cool. Oh, sorry if you can hear my neighbors, they're kind of talking in the backyard there. Apologies. So let's go back to the engineer. So yeah, that's kind of all I had for the gameplay tips number 1. So hopefully that helps you out. So let me just put on a little gameplay video while we go over the rest of the gameplay tips tips. Okay, so let's go into gameplay tip number 2, which is the mobile build tool. So I kind of mentioned earlier, you can't build on a slope, so you have to make sure you're on flat ground, or else it just won't work. It won't work. Well, you'll know it won't work when the thing that you want to build is like in a red, opaque kind of color. The other thing about this is that you shouldn't build in the open, especially during combat situation. You just will be super vulnerable, and arachnids will most likely eat you alive. So try to find a little break in the combat. Try to build during that time. Most times you'll see engineers build a twin MG emplacement and an ammo stockpile. If you do that, you won't really be able to build much else because your resources will be very limited. I believe it's 2,000 or but double check that. Also, you want to try to build on elevated terrain, for example, like shipping containers, structures. If that's not available, try to build, like for example, if you're on Valaka, build on a location where one side is like a cliff, it has like a sheer drop to it. Why do I suggest that? Because that's one less spot that the bugs can attack you in. So you just kind of want to limit the angles in which you can be ambushed. Also, when it comes time to move to a different location, for example, your team completed the objectives for Advanced and Secure, you want to deconstruct everything that you built so that when you want to build again, you have all the resources back up to full. These don't really replenish, I think. What else here? When you want to build something, don't just use the ability right away. Kind of plan out what you want to do first, because you're only going to have 30 seconds to build something. So make sure you have a good idea of what you want to build first. After the 30 seconds is up, you have about, I think it's like 280 seconds cooldown time, so that's a really long time to wait. So if you mess something up or kind of want to build something differently, you're gonna have to wait a long time. And if you do decide to build a twin engine emplacement with an ammo stockpile, you are very vulnerable to Inferno grenadier and bombardier bugs. The bombardier bugs will specifically go out of its way to target you. I'm not really sure why, but that's just what I've seen when I've been playing this game as an engineer and observing other engineers in the game. The bombardier typically wants to go and target you first. Maybe that's just how it was designed. But definitely keep an eye and ear out for this bug. Use those visual and auditory cues that I've demonstrated for you in the other videos in this series. Also, another thing with the new Carnage update, arachnid corpses can prevent you from building structures. This also applies to the mobile build tool. So use your melee to clear the field first before you build. That way you can have a nice clean area to start building things on. And the things that you can build are one ammo crate, up to 30 short walls, a spotlight, which is really nice if you're in a low light setting, twin MG emplacement, and an ammo stockpile. So that's about it for tip number 2. So let's move into tip number 3. This is going to be combat tips. So let's just talk about the weapons. So the first one I'll be talking about is the Merida Mark 1. This one's pretty easy. You know, just shoot, keep on shooting, pouring the lead down on the bugs. There aren't really too many disadvantages to this weapon. So if you're having a hard time using the flamethrower or the shotgun, this is the one that you want to use. It's got great damage, recoil is pretty good, and if you do want to use the flamethrower, just know that the bugs will continually run at you if you decide to use it. There's nothing that will stop it or make it flinch or anything like that, so just make sure you kind of back up as you're using it. Nice thing I like to do if the opportunity opens up is like use the emancipator to shoot the arachnid. That'll cause it to kind of like, you know, stop moving for a second. Switch to the flamethrower, and then once it starts moving again, you use the emancipator on the arachnid, and then kind of rinse and repeat this cycle until the bug is dead. For the flamethrower, you don't really want to get too aggressive with this because the range is pretty short, and there's like no stagger and stun on this weapon. At least not that I can really see and notice. So the best place to use this thing is if you're like on top of like elevated terrain, like say if you're in the base, like a wall, a bunker, or if you're out on the field, any kind of like elevated terrain that you can climb on top of. Sometimes there'll be like shipping containers, trucks, things like that. So hopefully that helps you with your gameplay if you're having a little hard time using the flamethrower. The last thing we'll go into is the shotgun. So with this weapon, you want to reload whenever possible. At first I really disliked this weapon because it took a long time to reload, but I had to think really hard about this and kind of like go back to my experience of playing Call of Duty, right? So with a pump action shotgun, what you gotta do is like if you are noticing that you're kind of running low on shells in the tube, just like start reloading, you know, maybe 1 or 2 shells at a time, shoot at the bugs. That'll, you know, cause them to stop moving for like a couple of seconds, long enough for you to reload another 1 to 2 shells, and just kind of repeat that process until the bugs are dead or other troopers can come in and assist you. So the shotgun, it'll stun bugs even at its maximum range, which is really nice because it'll help you control where and when the bugs will move. Also, when you reload from empty, meaning like you used up the last shell, that very first shell that you load into the tube, it's going to take a lot longer compared to loading the rest of the tube. So if you can avoid it, just try to start reloading before you fire the last shell. That'll just make the process a little bit faster. And if you feel like you're being overwhelmed and you just can't like reload the shotgun, you can always just switch to the secondary weapon. In this case for me it'll be the Emancipator. That'll buy you enough time to retreat, or hopefully other troopers will at that point come in and help you. The cool thing about this shotgun is it's a pellet based one instead of the other shotties that you get for the other classes. Those are like slug based. So with the pellet based shells, it's going to have a wider spread, meaning that it can hit multiple bugs in one shot. So if the bugs are like clustered pretty tight together, you're going to be able to hit a lot of them at the same time. The cool thing about this one is that you can kill warriors at close range. I've seen one-hit kills occur anywhere between 1 to 3 meters away from you. So it's actually kind of a nice little game you play with, like how soon do you want to pull the trigger, right? It's kind of nice trying to estimate where that one-hit kill will occur. Okay, moving on to gameplay tip number 4. This is repair during base defense. Now, the thing with this class is like, you can let the other troopers focus on the combat. So just, once in a while, take a lap around the base. Repair things whenever possible. And then try to reinforce the durability even further because you have that one perk equipped. This class is the best class to do these kind of activities, especially during base defense, because you'll be able to repair at a faster rate than the other classes can. And also, it's a nice way to get a couple extra experience points too, so it's not like a worthless kind of activity. You will be rewarded for your efforts. And sometimes, especially if you're going to be using the shotgun, sometimes the bugs will just be like out of range for it, because sometimes there'll be a lot of auto sentry turrets or a lot of MGs that the troopers built. So just kind of, walk around a little bit if you're in those situations and just start repairing things. Let's move into the 5th gameplay tip, which is ammo fabricator and ammo crate. So with these, you want to place these near objectives so the team can replenish their ammo without having to travel a long distance. That takes troopers out of the fight, and that means that position can be overwhelmed, and you most likely have to start the rebuild process right away, or if you're in a point capture objective, the progress will just be stalled. Put these near the objectives. And another thing though, with the ammo crate, that can actually be used as a defensive structure, because sometimes the bugs will target it when they're in the area. And from what I can tell, it has a pretty high durability. How much, I don't really know. But I've seen bugs attack it, and it takes a while for them to chew through the durability on it. Another thing with the ammo fabricator and the ammo crate, whenever possible, when you're in a base, build these on top of structures. This way the troopers don't have to go very far from where they're standing to reload. Ideally, you want to put these on top of the bunkers because the bunkers are usually going to be placed in a critical position where a lot of bugs will be. So yeah, you don't want to put these on the ground inside the base because once the base is breached, which can happen quite frequently, it's not going to be safe for the troopers to go and reload while it's on the ground. I've seen people try to do that and sometimes they've died. You can also place these inside a bunker, but that's going to take them out of the fight for a handful of seconds. It's much easier just to build it on top. It takes less time to just turn around compared to jumping off of the bunker or the wall and trying to find which bunker the stuff is in, because it's not going to be really easy for people to see, especially if there's like low light settings like pitch black, or when like there's a lot of bugs and stuff, because like when bugs die, like there's like this green cloud that pops up where they're at, or sometimes there are going to be cases where there's going to be a lot of napalm and chem grenades going off, so those are going to like hinder your sight even further, so it's going to make it even harder to see what's inside a bunker. So the best place again is to put these on top of like bunkers and walls. Let's move into the last one, number 6. Talking a little bit more about the proximity mine and the shock beacon. So with a proximity mine, it's very situational. If you place it in a location where the bugs just won't walk through the area, then it's a missed opportunity. Try to predict where they will go. If it's on a base defense, that means it's most likely going to be locations where it's like closest to the arc. If it's like on arc mode or advanced and secure, or if it's in horde mode, it's going to be the mobile HQ. So the bugs will try to take like the shortest, most direct path to the arc and the mobile HQ. So try to use that to your advantage and place these proximity mines in those locations. Or if the team already had set up a kind of like a kill zone kind of situation, definitely place the proximity mines in there. You can also place these on slopes, which is kind of cool. Kind of increases the flexibility of how you can use this. Oh, you can also put these in choke points that you definitely know the bugs will come and enter. But those are some of my thoughts on the proximity mine. It's very situational. If you're not really good at predicting where the bugs will go, then it'll make it a lot harder to use this effectively. So let's now move into the shock beacon. For this one, it's always active as soon as there's at least 2 shock beacons up next to each other. Just make sure you keep them close to each other within 10 meters. You can set up a large defensive barrier around an objective like a refinery or point capture zone. This is susceptible to being destroyed by friendly explosive fire. This will keep bugs locked in place long enough to be killed by you or the other troopers. You can also place this on slopes, just like the proximity mine, which is really nice. The shock beacons can also be destroyed by bug explosives as well, like for example grenadier or bombardier bugs. Those will definitely blow those things up. So those are like some of the downsides about using a shock beacon. I think I personally like using a shock beacon because you don't have to really worry about setting this thing off at the right location. You can just kind of like set it up and like walk away. Whereas with the proximity mine, if you don't choose like a good spot for it to explode because the bugs aren't walking there, then again, that's a missed opportunity. But with a shock beacon, if it turns into a missed opportunity, at least the shock barrier that it produces will be up, and if anything does walk into there, it can be zapped a little bit. This thing will also zap all types of bugs, whereas like the proximity mine, it will only be armed when a warrior or larger sized bug happens to walk next to it. So that's kind of like another advantage that the shock beacon has over the proximity mine. But if you like using one more over the other, definitely go for it. Do what you think is going to be fun for you. But yeah, that's all my gameplay tips that I had for the engineer. This marks the end of all the um, videos for the classes, and yeah, hopefully that helps you out. This has been another great episode that I wish will be of use to you troopers. And yeah, I'll catch you in the field.